The modern world runs on the shortcut. We look for the fastest hack and the immediate result, ignoring the slow, hidden path to the top. In the mountains of Seki, a young man named Kenji kneels in a freezing forge. He has traveled 300 miles to find Master Muramasa. His goal is specific. He wants to forge a blade that can slice a falling leaf in two. Muramasa lives by Shokunin Kishitsu, the craftsman's spirit. This philosophy views the craft as a social and moral obligation, where the artisan finds meaning in the process itself, rather than the promise of fame or wealth. The master refuses to let Kenji touch the steel. He exiles the apprentice to the mountain slopes with 2 commands: bring 10 buckets of spring water before sunrise, and chop the oak logs for the furnace. He is to do this until he is told to stop. Denying a talented student access to their tools serves as the first test of the ego. Mastery requires the destruction of the desire for immediate glory. Every morning begins on a steep, treacherous path. Kenji must carry heavy wooden buckets of mountain spring water from the source back to the forge. If Kenji rushes the climb to finish the chore, the water sloshes over the rims. He arrives at the forge with half-empty buckets, rendering the entire physical effort useless. To keep the buckets full, Kenji must find a biomechanical solution. He develops a perfectly steady core and synchronized footwork, using his body as a shock absorber to keep the water's surface level. Notice the core engagement required. This exact stance, a rigid center while limbs move, is the foundation for swinging a heavy hammer. As the figure transitions to a strike, the core vectors remain constant. The strike's kinetic transfer begins in the stabilized core built carrying water. Mastering a tool begins with mastering the internal mechanics of the human body. 3 years pass. Kenji's second task is the rhythmic splitting of massive oak logs to fuel the forge's furnace. Attempting to split the oak with raw, brute force only leads to exhaustion. Kenji learns that success depends on kinetic efficiency and a rhythmic breath that syncs with the fall of the blade. He is practicing Kaizen, or continuous improvement. This is the mechanism for building muscle memory through small, deliberate adjustments that eventually replace the need for physical strain. This chart tracks his progress over 1,000 days. As Kenji optimizes the angle of the axis swing by fractions of a degree, the energy he expends drops while the impact force reaches its maximum. Kaizen systematically strips away wasted effort until only a pure, effortless rhythm remains. Kenji finally reaches a breaking point. Standing in the roaring forge, he demands to begin the real work of a bladesmith. Muramasa points to the flames. The left side of the fire glows a blinding blue because the wood Kenji split so thinly burns at a much higher temperature than the larger chunks on the right. Then there is the water. By carrying the buckets with a perfectly steady core, Kenji prevented silt from mixing into the liquid. This purity is required to create the clean steam necessary for quenching the metal. In the quenching paradox, water too cold shatters steel, too warm leaves it soft. There is only a narrow thermodynamic window for maximum integrity. This mirrors Kenji's mind. Hubris is too hot. Apathy is too cold. The balanced Goldilocks zone is the Shokunin spirit. The mountain chores calibrated both the raw materials and the artisan's mind before the first piece of steel ever touched the flame. Muramasa reveals the truth. Kenji has been forging for 3 years. Every bucket of water and every log split was a strike of the hammer. Kenji raises the hammer. The resulting strike demonstrates the core stability and kinetic efficiency he built on the mountain. His eyes are calm. The ego that once demanded a legendary blade has been replaced by focus. The transition from manual labor to high-level performance applies to any discipline that requires deep technical skill. The logic of the mountain is the exact logic of the forge. A master bladesmith crafting perfect, flawless steel relies on an invisible infrastructure of physical habits built over years of dedication. A craftsman shaping a masterpiece relies on the core stability developed during months of unglamorous mountain labor. The final product is the shadow cast by these invisible processes. Extraordinary results are the inevitable byproduct of a relentless dedication to the perfection of the mundane.